expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona, this is Brother Mike. Welcome to the radio program, HardcoreChristianity.com. Brother Mike back on the radio. Welcome to our Bible study today. What is a true minister of God? Do you ever wonder that? Is there a checklist you can look down? Believe it or not, there is one. I'm going to share it with you today. May God richly bless you. Hey, this is Brother Mike. I'm the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center in Central Phoenix. We're on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road, downtown. On the website, HardcoreChristianity.com, you see all of our ministry services available. We have 2 live services every week, Thursdays and Fridays, at 7 p.m. Pacific time in the summer, 7 p.m. Mountain time in the winter. All of our services are broadcast live on our YouTube feed. On the website, you can join us on Facebook, Hardcore Christianity, or Blessings. Blessings contains the testimonies of some of our miraculous healings and miracles we've had at the Deliverance Center. Those are very encouraging. Sister Karen is on page 1 on the website for your real estate sales and purchasing needs. You can go to the PayPal button on the website and send us another donation, which you've been doing for the last 16 years. And may God richly bless you. 16 years later, I still do not take a salary out of the ministry. Neither does my wife. We all are volunteers, and we have freely received, so we freely give. May God richly bless YOU. Thank you for your prayers. What is a true minister of the gospel? Let's check this Bible study out today. It's going to be very interesting, and you can use this thing as a checklist for your pastor or youth leader or minister or associate pastor or board member or what have you at your church. The Bible tells us that we are to be a fruit inspector. Okay, what is a fruit inspector? Someone who examines someone's spiritual fruit. You examine someone's spiritual fruit. We are not a fruit condemner or a fruit criticizer. We're a fruit inspector. You are required by God to inspect this radio program and make a decision on what I'm saying. Is it true or false? You're required by God to do that. What kind of a minister is at your church? Well, if they don't meet this checklist, they're probably a full or partial failure. Check it out. 1 Timothy chapter 3. The checklist is right there. Here it comes. 1. If a man desires the office of a bishop, he desires a good work. An episkope in Greek is a bishop. And that Greek word means someone who has authority in the church. And a bishop must be, number 1, blameless. Number 2, the husband of one wife. Okay? Now, we don't know exactly what that means. One wife in your entire lifetime or one wife at a time. Okay? It sounds to me like it's one wife at a time because there are conditions the Bible allows for divorce and remarriage. One of them is death of a spouse. The other one is fornication of a spouse. So my guess is Paul's talking about the husband of one wife at a time. In other words, Paul was anti-polygamy. Number 3, they must be vigilant. Number 4, they must be sober. Number 5, they must have good behavior. 6, they must be given to hospitality. 7, they must be apt to teach. 8, they must not be given to wine. Now that's a tough statement. They're not given to wine. There's 2 ways to look at it. They're to be a teetotaler or they are to use wine or alcohol in moderation. Either way, it's not to affect your performance as an episkope, a bishop. Number 9, no striker. That's the Greek word plektos. It means someone who causes quarrels a lot. Argumentative person. Number 10, not greedy of filthy liquor. What does that mean? Somebody who doesn't put a lot of emphasis on money or material things. Number 11, they must be patient. Epictes is the Greek word for patience there. It means they must be gentle. Okay, the next one. Not a brawler or covetous. Translation. They must not be someone who fights and tries to aggressively get material things and money. Next one. They must be someone who rules their own house well. Proistemi is the Greek word for rules there. It means to preside over. Next one. He must have his children in subjection with all gravity. Now, the Greek word for children there is teknon, which means like grade schoolers or junior high school kids. It's not talking about infants or babies. He's talking about semi-grown human beings. They must be in subjection, i.e., subordinate to the parents, and they must exhibit gravity or sobriety or humbleness. Quote, if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? If you have a minister or a pastor whose house is crazy, the wife's nuts, the kids are buffoons, they're out of control, chronic fighting, total insanity, drugs, alcohol, all kinds of emotional or social problems, that person does not qualify to work as a bishop. You got to put them on sabbatical until they get the thing fixed. They do not qualify to work in leadership in your church. Get rid of them. Okay, 1 Timothy chapter 3. Then he goes on to talk about a deacon, which is a similar position. But a deacon is a diakonos is the Greek word. It means someone who serves like a waiter, someone who waits on others, a servant, someone who cares for the things of others. That's a deacon. What are the qualifications of a deacon? What's the checklist? It's right here. 1 Timothy 3, 1. Their wives must be grave. 2, they must not be a slanderer. 3, they must be sober. 4, faithful in all things. And they must be the husband of one wife. They must be ruling their children properly and their own houses well. Same qualifications for a bishop. In Matthew chapter 23, Jesus described what a deacon really is. He said, quote, he that is greatest among you shall be your diakonos, your servant, a deacon. If any man serve me, Jesus said, let him follow me. Where I am, there shall also my servant be. Same Greek word, diakonos, deacon. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. Okay? Now, if you want to be a deacon, it's not like the satanic Kenneth Copeland crap where you're going to become a multimillionaire and drive fancy cars and live in mansions. Okay, that's all satanic. A servant, a diakonos, is someone who waits on others. Doesn't wait around to get money from others so they can buy material things and live high on the hog. Duh. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and chapter 11. Wow. 16 signs of a minister who is a tear. Ministers who you need to get rid of and get out of your church. 16 signs. 16 signs. Are you ready? Number 1, they hold secret things of shame. They got a secret life. They have secret sins they get involved in. Happens all the time with these mega church pastors. They've been pastoring for years and suddenly, boom, a scandal breaks out. Number 2, they walk in craftiness. Yeah, they're always kind of figuring out how to manipulate others. Number 3, they handle the word of God deceitfully. They pull verses out of context, like Kenneth Copeland. He pulls out these prosperity verses out of context, then he throws them at the people in the crowd. And because the people in the crowd are sheep, spiritually ignorant and unfamiliar with God's holy word, they buy it hook, line, and sinker. They give him over $1 billion, he said recently in an interview, and they don't get anything in return except another bill in the mail. That'll work. Number 4, they must walk They walk and they war after the flesh. Okay? They are fleshly, carnal people, and they're constantly fighting off problems with their flesh. Number 5, they always look for an outward appearance. Number 6, they're always commending themselves, patting themselves on the back. Number 7, they compare themselves to others. Number 8, they prey on the works of others. They take credit for stuff they don't do. Number 9, they're greedy for money. Number 10, they seek the highest offices they can get their hands on. Number 11, they are deceitful workers. Number 12, they are counterfeit apostles. Have you ever seen these people running around YouTube and running around Phoenix saying that apostle this and apostle that? Those people are not apostles. That's all ridiculous. There are no apostles in Phoenix, Arizona. I've never seen one. I've never met one. I've never even heard of one. These are fake apostles. It's just name recognition. They're trying to pump themselves up. Number 13, they pose as righteous ministers. Number 14, they seek self-glory. Number 15, they're boastful and self-exalting. Number 16, they don't have apostolic signs. Okay, in our society, in the prophetic and charismatic movements, you have all these fake false apostles running around. And the signs of that movement are angel feathers, oil pouring out of somebody's face, gold dust falling out of somebody's hair, glory clouds flooding into the room. Those were not biblical apostolic signs. The signs of an apostle are what Paul went through when he explained the supernatural powers of deliverance, casting out demons, healing the sick, revelations from God about God's holy word. Not the fake revelations about traveling to heaven and having lunch with Jesus and then partying with angels. Those are all familiar spirits. None of that stuff's real. It's all fake. Fake ministers are, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, destitute of apostolic signs, true signs. They have substitute signs, fake signs. They have wild dreams and trips to heaven and visitations of the courts of heaven. All that stuff is familiar spirits. A true minister of the God, how can we summarize it? Is somebody who has integrity. Wow, can you imagine a minister having integrity? Wouldn't that be great? It's all about integrity. See you next time.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.